How do you get a raster? You take a picture, you use your iPhone, you use Paint, you use any raster engine, AutoCAD raster, but you basically learn to just draw, right? Sometimes you'll do it with pen, like this is 1 over rho equals m over e I. That one's coming back at you. Is that on any of your lists? Okay. Now, pencil, you could highlight things. You can use thicknesses. That's how you make a raster. Okay. Generally, rasters are pictures and things like JPEGs. My preference, and you'll learn later why, is to use JPEGs or PNG files, but you got to know where they are. All right. So mine are going into pictures, and this is my demo. Okay. What JPEGs and rasters allow you is the ability to deal with alpha channels you'll deal with later, you talk about later, and break things into different channels. I think we got some Photoshop experts around, or GIMP experts, so I'm going to save that out there. I now have a raster. How do you bring that into different programs? Let's start with SketchUp, because I think all of you know how to bring it into AutoCAD. You bring a raster into AutoCAD generally with, you can do drag and drop, yes you can, but I would prefer and almost require that you use either the image tool or you use XREF for an image. And so now I'm going to go here, camera, standard views, top, right, learning how to set up my environment and my general view. And in this program you can bring it in two ways, but they're both done by import. When you do an import, you can import JPEG here. Obviously I've gone down to sample pictures, so I'm going to use it as an image, and use it as a texture, and there's going to be a difference, and you can figure out the two. Texturing has to do with tessellations, which we'll talk about, just like we do all the way through the K-12 nowadays. There's a picture for me. I brought that picture in. That was a vector. I'm sorry, that was a raster. Now it's going to let me do things with it eventually, but for now I can explode it. I can do all kinds of things with this later, but I've got a raster here. That is a raster. Now I could also do file, import what I wanted, but I'd have to know where it is, which in my computer somehow went out to public, pictures, and I didn't have a whole lot. I can do it by date modified. There's my demo. I can bring in a picture here. And if you notice there, because of the alpha channel stuff, it's all going to go right on top, but there's going to be ways that you just catch and grab the equation. So you'll need to look at that. That is the ability then within a program like this. You can think about how easy the 3D starts to be if you use user coordinate systems in AutoCAD, and how you can then perhaps bring in another one, file, import. In this case I'm going to bring in Gherky, and because this program is going to find different edges, it becomes very quick and easy to at least play around with doing something a little bit more interesting than just throwing stuff in a PowerPoint. So, but you want to realize that you're going to do a lot of good work, right? A lot of good work by just working off of paper on spreadsheets and getting ideas on paper. So you can maybe stand here and look down there. And those are the types of things you're going to look at. Change my eye height 6 feet. And now I can you'll see these different programs will all start to look and feel the same. We'll be using Revit in this class, Inventor a little bit. Used AutoCAD, and SketchUp is always a looming presence for a number of different reasons, mostly because it works so seamlessly and faster on not so great computers, though this year we've got 4 gigs, so we should be okay on pushing AutoCAD to its limits. So that is SketchUp. That's how you bring things into SketchUp. You can't do drag and drop in SketchUp to bring in raster. However, in other programs it's necessary. So when you look at Fun here, I'm going to do File, I'm in Fun. I'm going to run Fun. It's on, I think, all of these computers and in the room. I'm going to bring this over here. Whoops. I'm going to bring Fun. The program now is called Algo Do. It's incredibly neat, fun, interesting. there's a free version out at funland.com. So Funland or Fun Physics or whatever the search is. I'm going to clear the scene, and now this is how I bring in. I'm going to go to computer. Sorry, I just saw it right there. This is how you bring something into Fun. I think we have a local expert on that. At least a lot of time was spent last semester. You bring it and you drag and you drop. And there it is. Which means now when I turn it on, see you, goodbye. And you're going to see that drag and drop is possible in AutoCAD, not in SketchUp, but you want to be very aware of, when you use it. Some programs you're forced to. Bring you another program which people have access to. This is an ability just to take. You're not doing CAD here. You're just kind of using CAD as one of your tools. I'm going to bring up one of my latest, greatest favorites, and that is Geometer Sketchpad. $30 for a student. We'll have a few of these floating around. We're going to bring in 3 points. I'm going to grab things here. You'll notice if you go to the help on this program, how do you bring in a photo or a raster? You go to pictures and you bring it in. Right there you drag and drop. However, in this program, if you have to right click, grab that object now. No, I can't find it. Now I don't know what to do with it. So that's how you bring it in. I'm going to go right click. It's not letting me cut. I have to in this case, so edit, cut. I grab these 3 points and I go now edit, paste. You notice that those get attached to the 3 points that are there. So that's some of the stuff, basically when you looked at, not mathematically in survey and in other drafting, this is a neat little program. There's going to be a few of these floating around, I think. It's an incredibly important tool. This looks 3D, it's not. It's giving you a 2D representation, but just to show you that different programs deal differently with rasters depending on how you bring them in. So that is Sketchpad. The last one I don't have here is OE Cake, and I've got to do some stuff to kind of to make that work, so we're not going to do that right now. And the last one with my last 3 minutes, let me see if I can bring up Civil 3D and realize that the one that we also have access to that I would encourage many of you to delve into here when you get that stuff on paper, especially those who've got some great art skills that can draw straight lines, is to look at the raster to vector that we looked at last semester, so you can see if you can recognize and pull out some of what you have put on paper. This is a free form exercise to get you used to how much software you're going to need to kind of start to figure out yourself. There's no way we can teach all these things, but these things are all possible, and the themes exist. And the theme here is raster versus vector. Your best raster and vector engine probably is a flipboard, a flip chart, and some markers if you can draw straight lines. I'm going to hit cancel here. I guess I should have hit continue. All right, we're going to see, if you remember finally in AutoCAD how we bring things in. Let's see if I can drag and drop. Let's see how it works in AutoCAD. We don't want to do that. We want to get to learn to use map, image, all kinds of different things, but essentially XREF is what we're going to do here. So I'm going to close this out. You start to see this is at my home computer. It's got 2 gig of RAM, and it's got a lot of stuff on it, but let me see if I can go here, there to pictures. And let's see what happens if I drag demo and dump it here into AutoCAD. Look at that, it comes right in. Look at that, it just brings it right in. Now, what kind of object is it? It's an OLE object, I think. So it's actually, yeah, I don't know, maybe it's not, it's an image. So you're going to realize that I'm still going to expect that you start to, manage your pictures here a little bit more formally in AutoCAD. Except for an exercise like this. So that idea that you can drag and drop. But of course, XREF is probably not a bad thing. Let's see if I look at my XREFs. Well, look, there you go. It's right there. So by dragging and dropping, you essentially did make an XREF. All right. So same thing. Lots of things you can do. Lots of different pieces. You're going to want to be cutting up after what you write, getting these themes, and try to make something creative. Those who want to walk into it in a green screen, we'll talk about that as well. We've got some helper people around here, I think, that got some odd computers, so let's see what we can do. Thanks for listening.